Hi everyone, yasas que kalos irtate to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going to be making a ruffled pumpkin pie. It's going to have a crinkly phyllo crust, a creamy, custardy, almost cheesecake-like pumpkin pie topping. It's going to be so good and so delicious. This is the only pumpkin pie filling or topping that I ever use. We made this at the bakery in so many different varieties. It is the best, honestly. Even pumpkin pie haters love this. Let's get started. So we're going to begin by making the crinkle crust, and this is kind of a spin off of that really viral TikTok, what was it called? A crinkle cake, a crinkle phyllo cake. I'm just using a similar method just to make a nice holiday dessert. So we're only using half a pound of phyllo, and this brand, this particular brand, packages it in 2 half-pound packages. So this is half a pound of phyllo right here. And you're going to use number 4 phyllo. So if you have it all wrapped up in one large roll, you're just going to use half of the sheets basically. So you're going to take 2 at a time. If they're stuck together, you could take 3 at a time, no big deal. And I have a 9 by 13 inch baking dish here. And you're just going to crinkle them together to kind of form like an accordion. Just like that. And then you're going to put them in the pan. So simple. And that's the first step. So this is going to go in the oven. My oven is already preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to bake in there for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to take it out, and I've melted 1 stick of unsalted butter. I'm just going to pour that butter all over the phyllo, put it back in the oven for another about 10 minutes or so while I make the pumpkin pie filling. Okay, so for the pumpkin pie filling, I have 8 ounces of cream cheese that's been sitting out at room temperature for about an hour. If you forgot to take it out, you could always put it in a plate or a microwave-safe container and just microwave it for about 20 seconds just so it can come to room temperature. So I'm going to add the cream cheese to my mixer with a cup of granulated sugar and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and I always go with a heaping teaspoon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. And I'm just going to mix that until everything is combined. Then go ahead and add a 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree. Make sure that it's pure pumpkin puree with nothing added. 3 egg yolks, and then just mix that all together. Once that's all incorporated, go ahead and add 2 cups of whole milk. Make sure that the milk is either slightly warm or at room temperature. Once that's all mixed up, go ahead and give it a final whisk and scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl so that way nothing is stuck down there. Set it aside, and the pumpkin pie filling is ready. So once the phyllo comes out of the oven after the last 10 minutes of baking, it's going to be nice and golden. If it needs a few more minutes, then put it in for maybe 3 or 4 more minutes, just so that way it's a beautiful golden brown and it's nice and crisp. Then take it out of the oven and give your pumpkin pie filling another mix so that way everything is nice and smooth and even. And then evenly pour that over the phyllo. Then it goes back into the oven to bake for another 30 minutes until the custard is set and just beautiful. While the pie is baking in the oven, we're going to make a little bit of a syrup because the phyllo is just going to need a little bit of sweetness. So I have a 1/2 cup of sugar, a 1/2 cup of water, and 1 cinnamon stick. I'm going to put it over medium-high heat, let it come to a boil. Once all of the sugar is dissolved, go ahead and add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Give it a nice whisk or a mix and take it off of the heat so it can cool while the pie is baking. As soon as the pie is done and it comes out of the oven, you're going to carefully pour the syrup over the edges of the cake, over the border, so it can seep down into the bottom, so it can go into the phyllo and sweeten it and just make it nice and sweet and delicious. Then the hardest part of this is waiting for the pie to cool down. It's best served cold, in my opinion, but you can definitely serve this at room temperature. Once it's ready, cut it into squares, or you can even scoop it out and serve it to your guests. It's going to be so delicious. The pumpkin pie is finally ready for the taste test. It smells so good. Again, I do like to serve this chilled, so you can make this a day ahead of time and then just put it out nice and cold. It's going to taste so good. Let's just make sure. And the spoons should just slice right through. Oh my goodness. It's kind of like bread pudding meets pumpkin pie. Absolutely delicious. That little hint of syrup that we just added at the end went through those phyllo layers and sweetened them just the right amount. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. It's creamy, it's just so delicious. The exact measurements are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Give it a try, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys here next time with another delicious recipe worth sharing. Yes, Ess?